Hello and welcome to the I Can Do podcast with Benjamin Lee. We're here to talk about tips and strategies to have an I Can Do mindset. Life is what you put into it. Get the most you can. Here's your host, Benjamin Lee.
Today's show is sponsored by the Still Waters Counseling with Julie Adams. You need a counselor with life experience who cares for you. That person is certainly Julie Adams. Sometimes it helps to talk, to unload hurts with those who listen with empathy while sharing the same biblical moral frame of reference. It also helps to receive constructive suggestions that move toward solutions in a more positive journey. Life is hard, and some days it gets harder. You do not have to go on this journey alone. If you're in need, please reach out to Julie Adams with the Still Waters. That is STILL waterslife.com. stillwaterslife.com to set up an appointment. Hello and welcome to a new episode of the I Can Do. I am Benjamin Lee. I am continuing to read my Life Beyond the Scale book to you. So today we are in chapter 3. If you have not had an opportunity to listen to the introduction and the first 2 chapters, then I would recommend that you go back and start there, and then you can listen to chapter 3. Here we go. Chapter 3. A cup of coffee that changed my life. What do you want to do? When I graduated from high school in 1996, I enrolled at the University of Illinois. My love for fitness continued. I majored in kinesiology. It was during this time when I really began to get serious about lifting weights and exercise in general. I would still have to learn the hard way. I had heard a lot about how much weight freshmen often gain. At the end of the first year, I became another statistic. There were a variety of bad decisions that I made my freshman year. My family didn't have much money, as I've already shared. Thankfully, my tuition was almost completely covered by scholarships. The University of Illinois was in my hometown of Urbana. And in hindsight, I should have lived at home while studying, but I didn't. I had to be grown and independent and foolish. I decided to live in a dorm freshman year. I stayed at Bromley Hall. It was a great dorm. The only problem was it was expensive. It was so expensive that I could only afford 1 meal per day in the cafeteria. Yes, you heard that right. I could have stayed at another dorm where I could have had 3 full meals a day covered, or I could have stayed at home. But I wanted this dorm. I got what I wanted, but lost what I had, which was extra money. So when it came time to eat, I ate. My roommate and I would eat a lot. In the cafeteria, there was this fruit juice that was available. We called it Fruity Fruit Juice. It was full of sugar and not juice, but it was full of sugar just the way I liked it. There were some glasses for us to use, so I would fill up about 6 of those glasses and drink all of them. My eating wasn't the best that year, but when you're young, you can often get away with eating bad foods. We would have pizza late at night or sometimes Burger King. One of the guys who stayed on my floor in the dorm was constantly eating Burger King Whoppers. I couldn't believe how many he ate. He ate Whoppers and chewed tobacco. Clearly, he wasn't doing much schoolwork because he had to drop out at the end of the first semester. I don't think it was until my junior year until I really got serious about eating right. I had some weight to lose, and thankfully I did. I was taking a swimming class that fall semester. It was early in the morning. I would bike to get to where the pool was and then often swim for 45 minutes or so. So I was burning a lot of calories. That gave me a lot of momentum to get back into shape and to keep the weight off. I had a great time during college. I continued with my running. I have great memories of going on late night runs on campus on the weekends. Back then, I still had my cassette recorder with the big earphones compared to now. I listened to a lot of dance music. Yes, that's right, dance music. I wanted fast music to help me to keep moving. It was during college when I began working at a health club. This is probably a big reason why I loved to go to a gym to work out, and I still do. I began working out at Gold's Gym and working there as well. I also did some part-time work at the school's workout facility, and after I graduated, I became an assistant manager at the gym. That was a big deal for me. I laugh when I think about some of the things I did there. I would open up the gym around 5 or 5:30. I never had a problem getting there on time. I would get there early to ensure everything was set up. I would typically bring some leftovers and heat it up there. Big mistake. The only problem was the gym would smell like whatever food it was that I was eating. This was not good, especially if it was Chinese food. I loved Chinese food, but as you know, it's not always the healthiest. I feel bad how so many of the members at that gym who came to get an early morning workout were greeted with this smell of food. Big mistake. So, during this time, I really focused on getting stronger, and it worked. I was bench pressing 325 pounds, weighing about 175 pounds. That was really good for me. Now, what wasn't good for me was how much caffeine I began to consume. There was an energy drink called Razor that we sold at the gym, and I loved it, by the way. It was $1, and it got me moving. Eventually, that drink disappeared from the market. It didn't matter. I used other stimulants like Ripped Fuel. I couldn't believe how much I would sweat using that product. I also found another energy drink called Speed Stack. As I was using these all of the time. And as I reflect upon the last 20 years, I recognize that I've consumed way too much caffeine. I went from Razors to Speed Stacks to Rip Fuel to 5-Hour Energy and to coffee. Caffeine is good, but there's a limit. One can go too far with stimulants, and I think I did. I never used steroids. I couldn't afford them, and I was too afraid to. I know there were some steroid use or some kind of human growth hormone use at the gym. After a while, I was able to point out pretty well those who were using some kind of steroid or something else to get some additional gains. It was also during this time that I became a certified spinning instructor and did some personal training along the way. Working at the health club caused me to go a little overboard. I would teach spin classes with my shirt off. Before there were selfies, I was doing selfies. Safe to say that I was obsessed when it came to exercise and fitness. How I looked is what would consume me. I can remember asking my mom and sister to take photos of me while I flexed. I know it was over the top. I'm happy I had the opportunity to be able to work at a health club. And, in hindsight, you do things differently, right? I learned so much. Here's some of the things that I learned. Number one, you must put time and energy to stay in shape. Those who are consistent will succeed. Those who are not will not. There was one man at the gym who I still admire to this day. He lost 100 pounds in a year. It was so inspirational to see him come in day after day and get on a Stairmaster. I remember talking to a young woman at the gym and asking her how she always found a way to get her workout in. She responded by saying, "You just have to do it. You have to find a way to get it done." That's the mindset that we're after. That's the mindset we must have if we are going to go beyond the scale. Number two, when you work hard, people will notice. I was asked to be a part of a fitness book called Mind and Muscle, Psych Up, Build Up. Being able to be a part of a fitness book was such a big deal for me. I couldn't believe it. Now, before you think I was on the cover or anything like that, I was not. But I did have 2 pictures in the book where I was working out. Yes, my shirt was on, and that gave me a massive boost in confidence. It helped me to maintain the drive and focus and consistency to stay in great shape and to work towards hitting a goal. Working at Gold's Gym was not the only exposure I had to fitness. My junior year in college, I was able to take part in a summer research opportunities program. I helped one of my professors who was testing walking pedometers. We would take people out on the quad on campus and measure their steps. I had no idea how valuable those devices would become. I wish I had the vision to see the opportunities that were potentially available for me during that time. But I wasn't really thinking about the big picture. I was focused on getting my lifts in and staying lean. I had a variety of other jobs during college, like working at Walgreens. But the majority of what I did was still connected to fitness. It's incredible seeing how connected I've been to fitness as I look back. While I majored in kinesiology, I didn't know what I wanted to do. For a while, I thought I would become an athletic trainer where I would work with a collegiate or professional team. I was accepted into the sports training program and had an opportunity to work with the women's swim team for a while. But after spending a short time as a trainer, I decided to opt out of the program. I didn't want to do it, but I did want to stay connected to fitness. I just didn't know exactly what. But there would be a day while I was working at Gold's Gym that would change my trajectory. I got into a conversation with one of the guys at the gym that I knew. One day he asked me a question. He asked me what it was that I wanted to do after I graduated. What do you want to do? My response was, I have no idea. I really couldn't go too much further with the position that I had at the gym. I was hoping others reach their fitness goals, but at the same time, I was feeling restless. Okay, let me change that. I was feeling broke. I wanted and needed more money. And in all seriousness, I knew that there was more out in the world for me to do. I feel terrible that I can't remember the name of the man who I talked to. He was such a nice guy. He took time out of his schedule to have some coffee with me. He shared with me what he did. He was a pharmaceutical sales rep. He worked for Merck Pharmaceuticals, which was, and I think still is, one of the biggest companies at the time. Having a cup of coffee with him would put me on a new course in my life. I don't know what he saw in me or why he took the time to help me, but I'm thankful that he did. From that conversation, I took the plunge to see if I could get a job in sales. I never thought I would be a drug dealer. A good one though, right? All right, that's a stretch. But I guess you can say that I desire to be a promoter of life-saving products. My prayer was answered after receiving an offer from Pfizer Inc. Man, talk about a big move up from working at a local health club to now selling billion-dollar products. Looking back at this transition, I can see that I kept a connection with health and fitness. While I was no longer going to be training people how to lift dumbbells, I would be training and teaching physicians about life-saving products. My love affair with fitness and health continued. Stay tuned for Chapter 4 coming up here soon. Take care and God bless. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. If you are in the need or are looking for more motivation in your life, feel free to check out my website, benjaminlee.blog, where you can find hundreds of encouraging, motivational blog posts on a variety of subjects. You can find all of my books, which can also be found on Amazon.com. and other podcast interviews with a variety of people. I hope this helps. Please leave me a rating and a review. I can do, and so can you. Take care, and God bless.